Hello?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you well. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you well.
Good.
Very good.
We just need other people to show up.
Yeah, well, Jeff said he's going to be around at 8, so we'll see what happens concerning that. In the meantime, I guess we'll just talk about other stuff, given that this will be posted. Um,
Are we going all the way to 10?
I don't know. We'll go as long as it seems prudent. Yeah, so didn't look like we got as big of a turnout as the last one, which I don't think I gave people enough lead time for it. I think I only gave them about a week.
Yeah, I might want to give them a little more next time.
Yeah, well, it mostly came to me. I was like, hey, we should have another one of these. So that's okay, though. It's good to have them one way or another. So, yeah, obviously, Brian and I have been doing some very cool things with EDI games concerning new website revamps and working on games and getting stuff wrapped up. It's been a nice change from a lot of the engine development that we've been doing in past years. Um,
Literally.
what's that?
Literally.
Yeah,
Years.
yeah, yeah, definitely literally years. Well, as everybody knows, making games can take a long time. Um, so if you haven't checked out edigames.com, it would be cool of you to do so. I think if you haven't been there in a while, you'll be surprised to see that some changes have happened. And for anybody who has been following Revel Immortal, you can definitely go there, and there's a link to try the new alpha version. We haven't had an alpha version up for quite a while, certainly not a new alpha version. So the new alpha version is there, and it's definitely not anywhere close to done, but it really showcases the direction that we've been going. Um, which is more conducive for us to develop it, and actually seems like it's going to be a lot more fun in some ways. We found that developing a lot of content where you're just walking around with pretty much nothing happening is not really fun.
Not really.
Yeah. But yeah, that aside, working on our new project, which is known as 96 Mil. It is a horror adventure game. Um, It's a game that I've wanted to do for a number of years, ever since 1996, actually. So that's going quite a ways back. It has absolutely nothing to do with being 96 mil in 1996. That's just a complete coincidence. um, so it is a fictional story based on a real life location, although some names have been changed to protect us. um, but it should be good. It's a 3 month project, and it's going to be, fairly tightly constrained from a development standpoint, and that's very good because as game projects can lag on. Uh, it's going to be very similar in sort of, I don't want to say feel, but in spirit to our third game, Static Investigator Training, which hopefully some people have played. And we're not going to be doing the third person thing. We're hoping that we've learned our lesson from a lot of the feedback that we got on that. So we're doing a first person adventure game with, sort of a focus on even being scarier than Static. Static had a couple of scares in it, but overall it was pretty mild. We're going to try and turn it up a bit of a notch with 96 mil. Hopefully it's something that, uh, you know, people get their friends to play and then they get to laugh at them as they're scared.
Yeah. People like doing that, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope we'll get an opportunity to get some um, pre-looks from, some pre-reviews from some YouTube viewers. It would be great if we could get some people having some reaction videos while they're playing it. Hopefully those reactions are genuine scary and not like, hey, this isn't scary, but
Yeah.
that's the job that I've got to do, I guess. And Brian's been doing an excellent job just getting our marketing up to snuff. It's been really difficult given all of the uh, development work that we've had to do on the engine components that we've actually let a lot of our marketing side fall to the wayside, but he's picking up the slack on that, and I'm helping him with development as needed. So those are excellent. Again, as I said, go visit the website edigames.com if you get an opportunity. Sign up for our newsletter there. We've had a newsletter service for a while, but we haven't really pushed it. We think it's a very good way to get folks get information out to folks the moment it comes out, and
I'll do my best to make that happen.
yeah, exactly. Um, and our hope is to eventually utilize some exclusive content that we only do through email. So there'd be a real benefit to listening through email.
Maybe you
Notably
get some special offers and
yeah,
goodies for
exactly.
emails.
Coupon codes, free stuff. Another little piece that we're doing right now is we're working on getting our back catalog soundtracks into SoundCloud, and we're going to put links to those on edigames.com so that folks can listen to those whenever they'd like. We've gotten a lot of good praise over the years for the soundtracks to our games, and it's been kind of a shame that we haven't really made them available, but just kind of dawned on me now that we're doing all this. I'm like, why don't we just put our soundtracks online and put links to it? So why not, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Yep. So, Brian, anything else new? Just living the life?
At the moment we also have a Reddit, but it's not
That's right.
it's not going that well. Making it all pretty and stuff. It's not an easy job, but
Yeah,
we
it's
do
true.
we do have one.
Yes, we have a subreddit, so that's reddit.com. What is it? /r/EDI games,
Yes,
I believe. Yep.
that's what
We
it
also
is.
have live chat now, which again isn't very full, but that's to be expected since we don't have a lot of, current products out there. For years, though, we would get support requests via email, and that's all fine. But I think the ability to help people real time with real time chat is much
And how do we
much
do
more
that?
preferable.
What are we using for
We're using Discord app for real time chat, which I think is great. You can go to, as I said, edigames.com, and then there's a community chat link right up at the top there. I would give you the URL to it, but it's Discord app's very wonky URL. So let's see. We've
that? We
been
can post the link to our site in this chat, right?
yeah, sure, absolutely.
All right.
Let's see. You gonna do that?
Yeah, I'll put it up for you guys. Anybody feels so inclined to visit, we
Excellent.
would really appreciate it.
It's beautiful. And if you want to check out Revel Immortal, you can either get to it through that site or you can go directly to /Revel Immortal if you want to put that up there as well.
Maybe for some of you who haven't been around in a little while, we also have some of our back catalog on Steam now as well.
Yep, that's true. And we do have a Steam link right at the top of our webpage as well. It's really we've had all this disconnected stuff and we're just trying to bring it all together onto a semi-decent webpage.
Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of things that go into a modern webpage are incredible. Whenever you post something on Facebook and it's got all those cool images on it, social cards and etc. Just you have to actually tell the website to do all that.
Yeah, Facebook
I
makes it
think a
so
lot of
easy.
people think it just happens.
Right. It's like wizardry, magic.
It is wizardry. It is web magic.
Web magic.
Yep. And we're trying to optimize our search engine optimization SEO a little bit, which is again that's just like secret sauce.
But again, like Wizardry, you magically appear on Google.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey.
One thing I was just looking into is that rich card stuff that Google has. Like when you search certain companies on Google, you get that like gigantic thing at the right, which is all beautiful and information packed.
Right. Do you have to pay for that?
No, you don't have to pay for it. They have a way to do it. So I'm looking into it right now.
That's
But
cool.
it
If we
seems
could
like,
get
what's that?
that would be cool if we could get that going.
Yeah, it seems to be like one part making sure that you have the data to express it, and then like another part of Google deciding that you're worthy.
Yeah,
So,
that second part is the hard part.
yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But if we don't have the structured data to support it, then it'll never get there. So we'll start with that. So yeah, other things. I may end up repeating some of myself when Jeff gets here, but that's all right. So yeah, we're trying out something new concerning game development. In the past years, we've always hoped, at least, to utilize engine technology that can be shared across multiple products. And the issue for anybody who develops games and is watching this is whenever you create a new game on your engine technology and you find that you have a new feature that you would like to support, but it is in direct conflict with previous game features that the engine is shared on, such that if you modified the engine, you would not be able to, appropriately utilize the engine in both products. And that's only accounting for 2 products, and we would certainly like to do more than 2 products. So this has been, this is an issue as old as time for all developers. And the way that you've dealt with it either is that you've made it so that it can support all the features that you want, or you make it so that the engine is so general you can just implement support at each product. So what we've done is we've had many years of trying to do that. Primarily, we've taken the road of trying to say that one engine to rule them all. And it's been very difficult because you get yourself into a situation where you want to add new features and you're just concentrating on how the old engine is not going to like that, or how the old game is not going to like that, which is, it's a bad situation to be in. When you're developing a game, you want to be able to think creatively and work as fast as you can. And those other games that exist on the same engine, just it's technical debt, basically. It's technical baggage. So with Revel and 96 mil, which are using the same base engine, even though that sounds strange, we're using a cloning process. So basically, we branch the engine and then we modify it as needed. And the idea then is that we still, when new features happen or bug fixes happen, you still have to reconcile them between the products, but at least then your reconciliation is to bring over features and rather than try and figure out how new features that don't pertain to games are dealt with. So it's a better dynamic. That being said, historically, we've also released games that are pretty darn bug free. I wouldn't say that they play necessarily awesomely compared to the grand spectrum of games. They've had some, particularly in control schemes, we've had issues, but in general, like actual bugs, crashes, save games and stuff, we've been pretty darn good across the board. So we haven't had to do tremendous amounts of bug fixes. So given that, assuming that we keep to that path, the idea of actually reconciling bug fixes across lots of products shouldn't be that difficult. Really hope there's some programmers that will ultimately listen to this and enjoy what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Technical talk is not for everyone, but those that do like it really do get excited by it.
Absolutely. Yeah, technical talk is good. I do like some of that. I mean, if we get to a point where we find that some users are bored by this, we might spin off a technical version of it and keep this just straight to industry talk. But the whole point of it is that it's supposed to be very, very open floor, very fluid. I mean, the main idea is that we, meet semi-regularly and talk about stuff because that level of social interaction is good. A lot of game developers sort of sometimes end up being in a vacuum where they're not, getting any sort of feedback or other ideas. So this helps to alleviate that. As I said, I meet with Jeff Ainsworth, who is hopefully coming in 40 minutes. I meet with him semi-regularly in real life in Greenfield, Mass. He's a great guy, and I also meet with Tom Novely, who has done a number of interesting pieces of work. I think if you went to tnovely.net, pretend how you can say that, actually. Let's see. Nobody's going to know how to spell that. He's got some interesting stuff there, a lot of JavaScript experiments. And he and I, when we first started doing some of the HTML5 stuff in 2012, 2013, it wasn't really well formed yet. So he and I had done some creative stuff to make it actually work halfway decently, especially on mobile devices. Thankfully, a lot of that has become obsolete now because they've gotten better.
That's good.
So other cool things. For 96 mil, we are hoping to utilize Google Cardboard, which some people will know as Google's interesting, uber cheap VR technology. And it's at both times kind of cheesy and kind of awesome at the same time. It's kind of a techno geek sort of thing where the idea is that you could build your own VR viewer, but we're hoping that what we would like to do is we would like to do custom prints, Google Cardboard devices for 96 mil, and hopefully pair those up. But right now we're mostly focusing on how to get our HTML5 based technology to utilize it. Person who was in the last meeting, Justin Overton, has agreed to do a bit of work concerning that. So hopefully he will demystify some of that, because I know there are a bunch of specifications, such as reading QR codes and etc., to make sure that the devices are well calibrated. Aside from that, we have to implement in our engine technology to split into two different eye planes and do the appropriate like parallaxing between the eyes to give you the three-dimensional effect. That being said, if we can pull it off, I think 96 mil is an excellent game for that, because again, that's what you want to do. You want to see your friend playing the VR game and then being freaked out.
Now that could be really exciting. Now just imagine if they had that for like Slender. You also saw the reaction videos for all that, I'm sure. So imagine that, but with VR.
Yep. And I wonder how people play a lot of VR games. They must use headphones, right?
Headphones. Maybe. I haven't seen it too much, so I don't know.
I would guess
speakers.
have
I
to.
don't know. Maybe headphones.
If you're up close on, if you're using like a VR headset off your computer, then that's probably not a big deal. But for something like this, yeah, you definitely would want to use headphones. Plug it into your cell phone or not, because audio is sort of a big part of the game.
Yep.
It's going to be great. Hopefully,
Plus,
as I
you
say,
can't really say you're not immersed when you're looking directly at it. It would help a lot for the atmosphere.
Absolutely. And she was going to be here this evening, but my lovely wife, Jackie Jacobs of Jackie Jacobs Photography, she has done all of the... What's that?
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, yes. Well, worthy plug, too. She has done all the photography for 96 mil, and she's done an excellent job on it.
If you want to see that, you can check out our Facebook page for 96 mil.
What's that?
Which I am shamelessly plugging our Facebook page for 96 mil now.
Oh, excellent. Yes, we do have a Facebook page for
it. I'll put it in the chat. You can check out those pictures.
Okay. So yeah, she did do all of the photography, and I am happy to say that even though we started July 1 on this project, and it is now July 20th, so we are
almost 3 weeks in.
You there? I think I can sort of hear you.
Oh, sorry.
You back?
I got disconnected.
Did you microwave a burrito or something?
You must have.
Oh, what's that?
I must have.
Must have. Have you ever noticed that, by the way? If you like turn on a microwave and it's near your computer, your wireless goes crazy?
Well, I'm guessing they might be on the same spectrum then.
Well, yeah, I mean, electromagnetic frequency.
But luckily, I'm on wired, so that wouldn't affect me.
Oh, right. I'm on wired, like a real person, he says. Yeah, that is true. I don't know. Just whenever that happens, I feel like it's 2016. Should this not be a problem? It's the only I don't feel too many times like it's 2016, but for some reason that one, it's kind of like having to rewind a VHS tape.
I mean, it is 2016, but unfortunately, a lot of things in 2016 are working off the backs of things that were not made in necessarily this century.
Yeah, like the electromagnetic spectrum. It is true. Speaking of VHS tapes, I actually am going through my copious amounts of VHS tapes.
I don't own any VHS tapes.
Oh, you don't?
Hashtag millennial.
Huh. Can't imagine why you wouldn't own VHS tapes.
Hell, I barely own any DVDs.
Wow, that's crazy.
I just pirate everything.
What did you say?
Just kidding.
Oh, just pirate everything?
Just kidding. Don't do that. Seriously.
Yeah, exactly, kids.
Us game developers don't like that.
I have to edit that. Yeah. What was
Moving on.
So yeah, VHS tapes. Pretty bad when VHS tapes is the desirable follow-up to anything. So yeah, I got a VHS player from a friend because I wanted to get some video off of some old tapes, and having to rewind them kind of sucks.
Yep. Can't just skip to where you want to go.
And yeah, we have a whole collection of DVDs. Haven't like run a DVD in probably years at this point. I just stream everything.
Yeah.
A lot easier.
Streaming's great.
The other thing is like when you get older, I would assume, at least for myself, like the idea of watching a movie more than once doesn't really happen.
No, yeah, it's like, who has time for that, honestly?
I guess, yeah. I mean, I watch a movie more than once, maybe once every like 2 years or something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you see it again with friends or something. But
yeah, and I don't even think that counts. I'm just like, you see it, you're like, oh, that was so good, I'll watch that again. And it doesn't really happen much. But, you know, I don't know. For me, at least, when I was a kid, like, same movie 15,000 times, no problem.
You can always watch Lord of the Rings again, though.
It's true. Lord of the Rings is good.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is good.
It's like one of the exceptions.
So many... What's that?
One of the few exceptions.
Yes. Question is are we talking Lord of the Rings or are we talking like the Hobbit version?
Yeah, both, but definitely the original.
Yeah. Because I feel like they kind of squeezed out a little
Yeah,
extra money with The Hobbit, huh?
they definitely did. They definitely did.
It's great. Like these 3 books had 3 movies, and then this one book had like 3 movies. Well, I know what happened. It's like they were just sitting around and they're like, remember when we had all that Lord of the Rings money? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, they saw dollars out.
Absolutely.
Maybe 2 movies could have done it.
It wasn't a terrible movie, The Hobbit. It was okay, but I mean, it certainly was no Lord of the Rings.
No.
Let's see. So yeah, games, technology, it's good.
It's great.
We're gonna have one. I'm just gonna be games. They're good, and then I'm just gonna stop the hangout. And then we'll widely publicize it too.
Oh yeah, like we'll boost it.
Roll their eyes. I can go find a place to hang myself.
It's gonna be the quote of the night. Games.
They're good.
That should be our slogan.
Our slogan: we make good games.
It's like literally what our description says on Facebook or something. Like,
are you serious?
We make games.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
It's because you're the one that wrote it.
Yeah, absolutely. I make good game. You like good game?
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Like, no.
Darn, really? I gotta find this now.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is gonna be good.
It's gonna
Probably
be great.
when you were like in grade school. So
that might be true.
I have code older than you.
You have what?
I have code older than you.
Ooh. But at least you don't have children older than me.
That's true. Jeez.
He goes on the Morning's Wrath page. Absolutely.
Morning's Wrath. It is terrible. You're like, setting up that product thing, and they're like, here, type a description. You're like, description. Descriptions are so hard. Why can't it just be an awesome game?
I don't know, man. I can't seem to find it. I found it a little while ago.
Yeah, that's right. Because
maybe
awesome.
Ninja edited it.
I'm sure I did Ninja edit it. I've been doing a lot of that lately, looking just like that eyesore. Like we just changed the cover photo on there, and you were like, we should change that because it doesn't look nearly as good as this one. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, you're right.
Yeah. The brand new Rebel Immortal cover.
Damn
For
straight.
our Rebel Immortal Facebook page, which you guys should check out.
2, Roman numeral 2.
You guys should check it out. Post the link.
There you
Shameless
go.
plugging.
That's good. Even with the, question mark ref, I am meant to home
Oh,
panel.
yeah. It's great. Like, that's a quality link right there.
It is a quality link. Oh, yeah. So, publishers, we want you. If you happen to watch this video and you're not scared yet, we want you.
Okay, long description. We design and build video games. That's the long description for Ethereal Darkness Interactive.
I make things.
We design and build video games.
Yeah, that gets to the meat of it, doesn't it?
You know what the funny thing is? The short description is developing independent video games for years with nothing but a keyboard and the truth. So the short description is like 3 times. Oh god. Oh man. Yeah, we can't let you do this anymore.
Yep. You go in there and you edit that.
I will. Later.
Grandpa near the Facebook.
Yeah. Back away from the computer, Grandpa. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
Stick to your ID.
I write the code. That's what I do. It's a very important job. Ain't got no social media. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so
Publishers.
Ryan and I had an opportunity to meet in person. I guess a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, something
Indeed.
like that.
Your
It was
trip.
good. I got to sweat in Atlanta
It's great.
a lot.
It's pretty hot.
It was actually pretty good weather though, generally speaking. You know what's hilarious?
Mhm.
This is so funny. So my wife and I, we got a Groupon for we got a Groupon for a lot of things, but we got a Groupon for wine tasting. Okay. So we catch an Uber to go to this wine tasting.
Is this in Atlanta?
This is in Atlanta, yes, it is. And
Oh, man.
so we're getting close to the area, and we're getting close to it, and I'm like, oh my god, I I don't believe it. It's at the same place that you and I went to buy booze. And I said, I was like, this ain't no wine tasting place. And indeed, they well, I'll get into that in a minute, but we they just like sold this Groupon, like wine tasting here, and it's like, oh yeah, you got to have a reservation, and we only do it on certain days, and oh, and by the way, it's in a freaking package store. By the way, is New England for anybody who doesn't know what a package store is.
Hey, it's not that bad. It's not like your corner package store now.
The Packy.
The Packy.
Um,
It's not like a little
so
dingy, rundown place, man.
a little what?
It's not like a little dingy, rundown corner package store. This is a high quality booze store.
Oh, yeah. No. I mean, it was a great liquor store, but a wine tasting venue it was not.
Right.
So, needless to say, we will be talking to Groupon because
That's hilarious.
some bull.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple of them where it was just like, yeah. So I don't know if this has been a new thing, but watch out when you buy Groupons; they can be a little deceiving. They tend to leave out some details.
You got punked.
Overall, Groupon is good. We I'm all alone. I can sort of still hear you clicking.
Wow. My browser doesn't like me.
Your browser doesn't like you.
Yeah, I keep disconnecting.
Yep, it's okay.
But I am back again.
Oh, look at that! It's 7:37.
Indeed.
Soon Jeff will be here, and at least add a third voice to the thing. So yeah, as I was saying, Red and Green Steakhouse, very good food, decent people, good food.
Best beef.
How do you say no to that?
Like, how do you?
Guy comes out here and asks me if I want the best beef. Not the best beef in the world, not the best beef in town.
Just the best beef.
Best beef. So apparently that's like a proper name for their beef. Rump steak was amazing. I realize I'm now talking about food. I also realize that I haven't had dinner yet, which is very stupid on my part.
That's tragic.
Okay.
Tragedy.
It is tragic. I will eat things after. All of the things.
All of the things.
I may even find cause to go grab something and then get an energy drink while I'm at it, even though I shouldn't have it. And then power through and do awesome things and go to bed way too late.
So,
Downward spiral of bad decisions.
Oh yeah, I can already hear it.
It's all right. You're young still. Not that I'm not young, but you're really young.
Yeah, but not sleeping still hurts the morning after.
You're like 18, right? Yeah.
What? No,
17?
14. God, you're right.
14 labor laws.
Yeah,
Putting you to work.
get you in trouble. Keep messing with me.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm only 14 years old.
You forced me to code.
Forced me to code. No, I didn't. That would be so bad. It'd be like, I didn't force him to do anything, and that is not code.
You forced me to update our Facebook page.
Yeah, there you go. That's a little more like it. Judge would be like, well, youngsters should be doing the social media.
Hey.
I get my grandson to fix my VCR clock. That's a thing, by the way. I don't know.
VCR clock?
Yeah, see, you're too
Oh
young.
my god. No, actually my parents had, yeah, so I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
But for some reason, yeah, when, like the VCR clock would be blinking, you always needed somebody like, 20 years younger than you to know how to fix it and make it not blink. Yeah, so I was always that person when I was a kid. Of course.
Same. I was always that person for whatever technical problems came up in the house.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like people older than us don't realize, well, at least for me now, they don't realize that Google exists and that's how I find all my answers.
Oh yeah, it's true. I saw that great thing. It's like programming, also known as just like skimming Stack Overflow.
Stack Overflow.
Advanced Stack Overflow searching.
I mean, I feel like you're a little bit better than that.
Oh, I'm definitely way better than that. But I will not lie. In the modern era,
you visit it.
Oh, I visited. Like any problem where I'm like, I could definitely figure this out, but why?
Nah.
Yeah.
Somebody else has already probably
exactly. Somebody else has already done the nice little algorithm and it's been immortalized over there.
And then somebody else has commented and said, no, that's not the best way to do it. This is an even better way.
Look, the only way that this works is you go there, you skim through it until you see the green check mark, and that's it.
That's it.
That's the way it goes. Unless, of course, it's not in the form you want, and then you look down a little bit, and usually somebody else will do a little addendum. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. Google solves a lot of problems.
It does.
Made me lazy in my old age, but that's fine.
Wow, it's so strange to think people did not have Google like 20 years ago.
Yep.
Such a short amount of time. Most knowledge has been publicized.
I'll tell you what it was like. Basically, you know how now it's like, I wonder. I'll Google for it.
Before you just go to the library.
I wonder. Oh well, I guess I don't know how.
Yeah, well, but that's what like all these older people. No offense to any of you who might be older, but people like my parents, they do that. It's like, I wonder this, and then like, oh wow, it's like just pull out your phone and Google it.
Yeah.
Like, who was that actor in this movie? It's like, just Google it. Why are you trying to remember?
There's a great Lewis Black skit, actually. I don't know if you know, he is a comedian, sort of on the older side, and he's like, I don't like you kids these days. Used to be when we were growing up, we would say some stupid shit and everybody would believe it. Nowadays, we say some stupid shit to you and you're like, I don't know, that doesn't sound right. Let me Google it. It's like you take all the fun out of shit.
I mean, hey,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
That's fun for me, taking that away.
My fun is taking fun out of what you're doing.
Proving that you're not always right.
So, yes, other interesting news. My wife, the lovely Jackie Jacobs, is officially, as of this moment, well, not as of this moment, but currently within this moment is valid, working on Static 2. which is not going to be called Static 2, or maybe it will if I
Oh
have
my, that's quite an announcement.
It is quite an announcement. I didn't want to announce it because, there are sort of wayward winds that define what we work on, but she is, at least I can confirm, working on it. And she had worked on it a long time ago. Well, a lot of people perhaps do, or well, no, a lot of people don't know the story of Static, but I was going to say, no, nobody freaking knows.
The numbers are not on your side there.
Yeah, the numbers are not on my side. Basically, she had originally planned to write a larger game, which Static IT that we released was meant to be kind of like a demo for. It turned into a game in its own right, and it was certainly halfway decent in my opinion, but it was not the game that she had envisioned. She wanted it to be a bit more sizable. So she had sort of written that, but frankly, I do believe that some of the response to Static disheartened her. But thankfully, as of last year, I think she actually got a kick out of the YouTube reviewer, some guy. In all of his sort of mocking, there was actually a bit of admiration.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yep, no, he was great. So I think that actually kickstarted her and,
Let's see.
got her going again.
Let's see if I can pull up that video.
Oh, look, it's Jeff Ainsworth.
Hey.
Hello, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going?
It is excellent. Thank you for joining us.
Sorry I'm late.
That's not a problem. Fashionable.
What'd I miss?
Missed a lot of things, but we'll rehash some stuff. First of all, I guess since Brian and I have both been talking to each other in an echo chamber, we'll start off with what you're doing, what you're up to.
Or at this very minute, or just generally?
Generally, it doesn't matter. Whatever feels right.
Well, you know about the whole, because it's never a dull moment when you're trying to do your own thing.
Absolutely.
And so Facebook threw me a curve last week, and that was upsetting.
Which is this? Just explain it.
So they sent me an alert that said that my app was in violation of one of their policies, but they didn't say which policy it was.
Yes, the Facebook Gestapo.
Oh yeah, ouch.
Yeah, so we kind of did some deciphering and figured out that their problem was looked to be an external link in the app itself. So
right.
You're not supposed to link to the outside world, which I understood. But the only thing that I had linked in the app, I had two links. One was to a private Facebook group, and the other one was to the app page. Both of those things are inside Facebook, so I just got rid of those, and the second shoe hasn't dropped, so I guess we're okay for the moment. But
yeah, the draconian comes to mind.
Well, their platform, their rules, so
absolutely
no choice really.
True enough. So yes, that's the downside of Facebook. Live by the Facebook, die by the Facebook.
Yes, but it's the only game in town as far as if you want to easily monetize a game.
True enough.
Especially one where you expect power-up payments. What would be the how do you refer to that as a game style?
Actually, that's a good question.
Yeah, I know. I just don't. I know what it's supposed to.
Yeah. So this is the purchasing in-app purchases of. Did you say power-ups?
Yeah. So it's like a freemium model where you pay for free, and then, well, you can do that. You can have a great game outside of Facebook, but just the friction of people having to whip out their credit cards or use some other service like Amazon or Google or something like that. Is huge.
Yeah.
In Facebook, people don't even think twice. They've already got their credit card on file. They just hit a button, boom, it's done, and so that's a pretty sweet deal they've got going on for themselves. But that's the reality. So, but at any time they can say we don't like you anymore. You're out of here.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, I completely agree about the, sort of platform purchasing. Obviously, same thing with Steam. They hold on to your credentials in their Steam wallet, and it's one click to buy whatever you like.
Right. I mean, I guess there's other. Yeah, I mean, I tried to set up a Stripe account with the other game I had with the baseball game, and that didn't work too well. And
Yep.
it's just a very difficult thing to. And then you don't have all the the social built-ins that Facebook has that you can take advantage of. So
Yeah, driving the traffic to you is definitely a big one. But I think you're also correct is that, one app gets folks to put their information into their system, and then all of a sudden it's a click away from making it happen.
right, and then people trust the trust level with Facebook or Amazon or any name that you've heard of. Um,
Exactly.
I've been around long enough to know that when the internet first went to the broader audiences, there you could make money on the internet and you could be not recognizable. There was no it was amazing the with uh, with which people would pay for things using their credit card and who they would give it to back then.
Sort of intrinsic trust.
It just didn't cross anybody's mind that there was going to be that they were going to have a problem.
Right. People designed the internet without passwords and security and all this other stuff too.
Yeah,
It's crazy
exactly.
that everyone was so trusted or so trusting.
It's all very reactive. You start out very open, and then, as some people abuse the system or cause havoc, you have to tighten it up. And, when it's widespread, I mean, especially now, it seems as though, to me, in the last several years, fraud, credit card fraud, and website attacks have gone way up. So I think that's trickled through.
Well, actually, strangely enough, credit card fraud has always been around.
Sure.
And it's built into the system. It's like it's a built-in loss. It's part of the fee that you pay the credit card goes to. I mean, they know that there's going to be certain fraudulent things that happen using credit card, and so you're safe if you use your credit card. You're relatively safe. If it's a debit card, it could cause a lot of problems, but
sure,
right.
Your credit card is usually pretty safe. That is, assuming your money is worth anything.
Right. Yeah, I use PayPal a lot for the same sort of one-click, wants, where I don't want to have to whip out my credit card and transpose the number and all of that.
Yeah.
So definitely, it's a factor for me whether or not I can pay on a website with PayPal. If I can't, it might mean that I have to postpone my purchase until I grab my wallet or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big factor.
Anyway, so that's what's been going on, and just been updating content for the game. We're just having fun doing that. So
excellent. And I assume, I believe in the previous episode we might have talked about how you had some delivery issues, performance issues, and have you seen any lasting effects from that, or have things bounced back?
Jesus. Well, that's why I had a question for you, and a question for both of you, for that matter.
Sure.
You have maybe experiences that I don't have. I seem to be having server slow-ish. Sometimes the server's slow.
Okay.
But not always. So I have a question, and that is this. If I have a 3 megabyte file,
sure,
and that's a relatively quick file to load. A couple of seconds is what you would expect.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes longer, though.
Yep.
So a lot of the file delivery from the server to the end user in my project is not one file, but a lot of little files. Maybe 100 10K files instead of one megabyte file.
Yep.
Is there a difference in server performance, especially as it comes to taxing the server Or does it not make a difference whether it's one
It
file or a bundle?
it does make a difference. It's actually one of the more important things. So each time you ask a website for a file, it uses what's known as an HTTP request. So basically, it's a formal request that goes from you, the client, over to the website, and the web server then, finds the file and serves that request. Within that, there's nominal loss in there. It takes time to actually process that request.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference between one 3 megabyte file and n files at 10K each that make up 3 megabytes it's different. You will see significant losses in getting tiny little files.
Does it affect the whole system? Does it degrade the user experience for everybody when you have a lot of
Yes.
little teeny requests?
Basically, every time you ask for something from the server, it's busy processing that. Now, the server is potentially multi-threaded, but the idea is that with HTTP, it would love it. It would absolutely love it if you batch up all of your requests and ask for it in a big bundle and let it take care of it in one shot.
So how would that be done if I need to just do picture files, let's say, if I need 300 files and not just one?
Well, yeah, I can tell you exactly. It's a technology that we use. Brian, did you just laugh?
Yeah, I know we use this.
Yeah, so we use a technology known as image atlasing. So we use tons and tons of, tiny little itty bitty files in our product where, if we actually tried to get them via individual HTTP requests, it would bring the server to its knees trying to do it. So what we do is we use a piece of tooling known as an image atlaser, and what it does is it takes all of the itty-bitty individual files and it packs them all into one large image file. And then it gives an associated atlas which tells you where each individual file is inside of that image. So that way you can utilize it by using what's known as a bit block transfer that allows clipping by setting a source rectangle. So unfortunately, this is like technology dependent. There are tool chains that like to use individual image files, so you would have to weigh how you actually are doing stuff in order to make this work.
Right. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. There isn't really that. There isn't a lot of megabytes worth of total images that I'm storing on the server.
Yeah, but no, it's definitely, and you can ask Tom, as I had mentioned before, Tom Novelli, you can ask him about this. He and I did a lot of work concerning this because, yes, lots of individual HTTP requests can cause major degradation. I'm just going to look something up to give you an illustration here. 1 second. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to post this in the chat so we can just show some folks, as well as you, Jeff. So this is an example of some images that are in Revel Immortal that are baked into an image atlas. And you can see that if these were not, it would make up a whole lot of files.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, is that delivery going to just one end user, or would that be a bundle that you would send to maybe 100 people with the same bundle?
This is actually, it's nominal for the game. So when we load the game, we load everything in one big upfront load.
Okay.
So in your case, I'm kind of curious. What are the tiny images
Oh, I see.
you're using?
All right. Well, it goes without saying. Do I have to do the disclaimer? Don't laugh at me. Do I have to say that?
You can say it. You don't have to say it, but we probably will anyway.
All right. All right. So basically, it's a decorating game. So you have a room full of stuff.
That's not a laughing matter.
Everybody. Well, wait till you see how I make this work. So everybody has their own decorating scheme. Some
Excellent.
people are using a particular sofa and 3 different paintings or something. And other people are using all these different. So it's made up of all these different little images that make up that layer on top and make the room decorate. But not everybody decorates the same
Right.
thing. And so when you decorate a room, you're just adding one image at a time. Not a big deal.
Yep.
But then all those image names and image locations in that room are then saved to the database,
Yep.
so that the next time they go to decorate their room, it can populate.
Yep.
So
I
it's that initial repopulation of, and of course each room has got maybe 30 or 40 of these little images, or maybe more, and there's 9 rooms altogether.
Yep.
And so it has to go grab all that stuff. So it's just saying, the app is just saying, find this image on the server, find this image on the server. It does a for loop where it just asks for all the images.
Yep.
And then when it receives the count that it's looking for, it then actually displays them.
Yeah, and do you have any idea what kind of counts you're looking at?
You mean numbers?
Yeah, like what are we talking about? 10 files in a big room request? Are we talking about 30 files?
It could easily be 100 in a room.
Okay, yeah, so that's right out.
But then, so that's 9 rooms, 9 times 100, maybe 9,000.
Yep.
But then you have anywhere from 150, well, maybe 100 to 200 players. They're not constantly doing this. They're just doing this when they first show up. So maybe you've got, I don't know. So what's, maybe every 5 minutes you've got 10 people doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I completely get you. But yeah, so it's really not the way you want to go about it. Ideally, so here's the first thought that I have is, if you have not enabled image caching on your server, you should.
Okay.
Okay.
Now that sounds to me like I'm familiar with caching in a browser.
Yep.
How is that different?
Well, it's essentially not, but basically what you're doing is you're having the server tell the browser when it gets the file,
Yeah.
hold on to this and don't ask me for it again. Keep it around. So the idea is that
It
when
doesn't
you have
happen. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that doesn't happen automatically.
not necessarily. All browsers are kind of different about how they handle it. So maybe you're doing that already,
Yeah.
but maybe you're not. So basically, this is a nice way to maybe squeeze some performance out without any technological change. You know what I mean?
Definitely write that down. Okay.
So yeah, I would give that a try, and yeah, speak with Tom about it. He knows more about it than I do. The other way that you could maybe start to think about this is that what you can do is, so you've got this for loop that's asking for a whole bunch of these images. Now this, of course, this would still require some technological change. But you could have, well, I'll step back a bit. My first thought is that you do take all of your imagery, put them all into atlases, and do one big upfront load at the beginning. So that's
so hang on. So
Yep.
So a player would then get every image they might want to use in the game, and not just the ones that they need.
that is correct.
Okay.
So depending on your game, that may or may not be feasible. So
Well,
that's
what would the volume, would the total megabytes be, or total amount of data be the criteria, or would it be the number? Well, let me just I can tell you right now what's
it would be the megabytes.
All right, I'll tell you what's going on. Just give me a second to call, because it's probably quite a bit, actually. I mean, we try to be as efficient as possible. Very careful to. Okay, so if I just run properties on this image folder. Oh, that's not well. Okay, so the entire folder is a quarter of a gig, so it's 253 megabytes.
So 253 megabytes. That's still quite a bit.
Yeah.
What format are they in?
PNG.
Okay. So PNG does a good job of compressing things. Do they all have a lot of alpha space? So a lot of clear space?
They're going to have. Well, we of course. There's no reason to have superfluous transparency, so they're all clipped to the whatever the bounding box is. But
Okay.
I'm sure a
Well,
lot of them.
sometimes you do need superfluous transparency because otherwise you can't line things up again very easily. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So if you draw things, well, if you draw things that are meant to be layered and you clip transparency from the top and the left, it means you have to keep in mind the offset. But that might not apply to you in this
No,
case.
it doesn't, because what's referred to in Flash as a registration point, it's in the center of the file always.
Okay, well that's good. That's good. Alrighty, so a big upfront load sounds like it could be a bit sizable for you. So let me try the next thing which I was going to suggest, and that instead you use the same sort of technology where you do atlas images. So you do have to, and figuring that all out is going to be something in and of itself. But what would happen is you would atlas them dependent on need. So instead of doing your for loop right now where you're making tons of calls to the server, you would use that for loop and you would build essentially a manifest. So like a JSON document.
Yeah.
That says I need this, and this, right?
Right.
And then you send that to the server, and the server says, oh, okay, well, let me get that, and then it'll build up an atlas page for you, and then build that on the server and return it back to you.
Okay.
So that's an idea too.
Now,
that may not be.
What languages does that?
PHP would likely do that.
Okay.
Since I think you're using a PHP backend right now.
Yeah, I'm using a lot of PHP, but not for retrieving images. That's not
right. So
yeah,
unfortunately,
sure exactly.
this is a sizable technology change.
Okay.
In my opinion.
All right.
So, and it's definitely the thing you'd sort of want to do beforehand. So there may be some other ideas to make this work. So after just hearing all this, start with tweaking the server for server caching, and see if there's like a gaping hole in your image caching. Excuse me. Hopefully there will be, and that will alleviate some problems.
So I could actually get and just I won't harp on this too much longer, but I could send a command to the PHP, one command to fetch all these PNG files.
Yes, in theory. So you could send one command that gives the manifest of all the files that you want.
Yeah.
It's then your job on the other side to read that manifest, open all of those files on the server, and combine them into a single image, and then deliver that image.
And then, when you say combine into a single image, combine it into one PNG?
Correct. Like the image that I showed you?
Yeah, I don't have that. Should I?
It's in the chat.
Where is it?
Might be on the left side. It's in the chat, group chat.
The left side, yeah.
Or sorry, right side for me.
Right side, yeah.
I see group chat. Yeah, I don't see.
Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I can give you the link I can say the link to you if you want.
Okay. Well, I think if you just enter let me see if I can enter a message. Hello, Raymond. Hello, Raymond.
Oh,
yeah,
there you go.
So mine should be right above that. Do you not see it?
Oh yeah, I see the link.
There you go.
Sorry, I was looking for an image. Holy crap!
Yep. So that is an atlas page. And as you can see, if I did not have this, I would have many, many, many image calls.
Huh. That is pretty damn cool.
Yep. And this is programmatically generated. So the computer generates this. Lord knows I didn't sit there doing this.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
It's even arranged by size, it looks like.
Yeah, it's packed from smallest to largest. Tom helped me actually do this algorithm.
That's pretty sweet.
And he used PHP for this?
He actually used Node.js for this, but it's not an issue really. The
Okay.
language isn't a barrier on it.
So I got. Yeah, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so the real key to utilizing atlases is that your end technology can do it. So I don't know if you draw images on demand in your scene or if you're using like movie clips. I know you're working in Flash, so
Well,
that's the key. If you're bound,
this is one large PNG file. It's actually, it's pretty large,
Yep.
space-wise. And then you must take, once you get this created, then it's sent. Then I've got to do something. I got to decipher it.
correct.
I got to unpack this somehow. So
right.
how does it know how to unpack it?
Right. So when it's being packed, an associated file, in this case it's in JSON, is created, which is known as the atlas itself.
Gotcha.
So it tells you, it has like the file name, and then it tells you the coordinates and the size.
And that could be put into JavaScript, couldn't it?
Correct. Yep.
And then that could just be imported into Flash. So this could be done.
Yeah, so if you could do this for your big upfront load, the real question is again, if your big upfront load for all of your graphics is 1/4 of a gig, then it's probably still too big.
Well, you wouldn't need all that. That's every file in the game.
Yep.
They don't need every file in the game, and a lot of those files are redundant. In other words, they might have 10 objects, all the same file in the room, and I'm loading all of them. But I think probably it's using a cached version anyway. I don't think I'm going to fetch every one of those. But
well, yeah, that's the other thing, is that if they do potentially have duplicates, you should, of course, make sure you're not going out to fetch multiples of the same thing.
no, I don't think. I think Flash is like that anyway.
Okay.
Flash has an internal cache built into it, so
Yep.
in fact, it's kind of a pain because sometimes players don't get updates because they clear their cache in their browser, but it doesn't work. That's
Right.
Flash has its own.
So yeah, we can speak more on this, and as I say, Tom is also a great resource. But yeah, this is definitely a problem as old as time.
Oh, okay, good. Good to know.
The solutions aren't exactly easy, but there are well-defined solutions. As you can see, we had to do it this way because I started not using atlases for this, and I quickly found that trying to transmit this data over the internet was just not possible with all of those individual HTTP calls. It's too much for the server to handle.
Yeah, and when you have a lot of people doing it at once.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Right.
So cool, but no, that was a great problem. I'm glad we were able to sort of address it.
Yeah, it's another thing to think about. Because I was questioning HostGator and saying, what the hell? Why is this taking so long? Sometimes it takes forever to load. And then I was getting all these sort of obscure warnings from HostGator about this little kernel not being updated or something, and then I was getting paranoid about that. It's really nothing.
Yeah, so again, I would do some analysis just to see exactly what's going out. I believe if you, I think if you go inside of your browser while you're doing this, you can actually watch the requests going out. Given that it's in Flash, that might not happen. So if you just pop open your browser console, you might be able to see the requests going out.
Well, the console browser, the console will tell you when there's a file that Flash can't receive. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So that would be a good way to see exactly what's going out to the server, and then just take stock of what are the realities of that, and then, as I say, do an audit of how much file size you have, and then if you do have a way to utilize an atlas, then you can probably do on-demand atlas creation, which would probably be faster. then that, because I mean, usually on server processing, which is what PHP would be doing to build the Atlas, that's usually very quick.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
really
very
just
much it's a similar problem to the database problem I had earlier, which
one versus
asks
many.
too much back and forth.
Yep, yep. You want to
Yeah, I had to
completely
put.
reduce that, but it's not conducive to like the way that any rational person would originally develop something. You know what I
Also,
mean?
too, just because it works when there's no traffic
Yeah, exactly.
gives you false security. It's like, oh, this is great, this is going to be awesome, until people start showing up at your game, and then it's not so awesome anymore.
What's very similar, by the way, when doing 3D graphics programming, if you try and draw a model, like let's say you have 100 different models, right? And you want to say, all right, I'm going to draw this model here, and I'm going to draw it with this texture, and then, you would do it like this. You would get the individual files, you would individually draw them, and it would be fine until you find that when you were doing it, the GPU would become progressively slower as you're doing that.
Hmm.
And the reason is because GPUs, graphics cards, are stream processors. What they would love you to do is they want you to set up everything and draw it all in one shot.
Hmm.
It wants you to batch as much as possible because, as I say, they're stream processors. They can't deal efficiently with changes to the parameters. So again, it's the same problem, one versus many, and it shows up again and again in computing.
Right.
Yeah. So it's very funny when you see the same problem just rearing its head in a bunch of different ways, and you're like, all right, it's like a tenet of computing, one versus many.
Yeah, but those things are conducive to solving some kind of problems, though. Like graphics cards are very fast for some things.
Yeah, graphics cards are great if you structure your data efficiently, in the way that it likes it. But unfortunately, yeah, like the way that a person would like to structure their data is not the way that the graphics card would like it. Same thing. Like it makes sense for you and I to have individual graphics files. Like we couldn't work in that Atlas file that I showed you. Like it can't work like that. There's no room. You don't remember the coordinates in there, so you have to do an extra step, which gets it closer to what the computer would have as an ideal. There's actually sort of an interesting side benefit, which you probably wouldn't see in Flash, but you definitely would if you were using sort of a more traditional API. By having a image atlas, it usually boils down to only using one texture in the graphics hardware. And one of the things graphics hardware hates is you switching between textures. So all of your drawing essentially doesn't switch textures then. We definitely see that with HTML5 under the hood, having just a couple big images like this. We see performance updates. We see performance in drawing more so than we would if we had individual files. Which is, again, it's that problem that's just sort of eking up that it's hidden in HTML5, but it happens under the hood, so you still see better performance.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep. So
until all the processing happens on the server, we're stuck with this. But someday, all we'll have is little input-output devices, and that's all we'll need.
Yeah, well, if the internet gets fast enough, but right now we're having trouble getting some images over.
I have I have quite a few players who use Puffin, and it shocks the hell out of me that they're able to use that at all. But
what is that? I don't know what that is.
It's a cloud computing browser that you can get for. It works really well with Apple products, so like iPads and iPhones. So it's a browser that it works a little differently than it works very differently. The computing happens on a server, then the end product is delivered to the end user.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So in that case, you don't have to have Flash installed on your iPad, but you can still play my game because Flash is installed on whatever server Puffin is using to.
It's a pretty big plus for Apple products.
What's that?
So that's a pretty big plus for Apple products.
Yeah, well, I assume it would work on Android too, because Flash doesn't work on Android either. It's not just Apple,
Exactly.
because it's such a heavy CPU thing. But if so, yeah, I don't know about performance though. It would seem to me that there'd be a lot of lag time. Some games wouldn't work at all with that kind of lag time, but the game that I have doesn't. So the thing you're trying to move follows your finger a little bit behind it, I guess. I don't know. I haven't gotten to the point where we want to test it. We don't have enough people doing it, so it's worth testing.
Yeah, it's a pretty good stopgap piece of technology. It's the difference between a little bit of lag and not being able to use it at all.
Not being right, not being able to use it at all, and it makes it depends on the kind of game you develop or the kind of app you develop, whether or
Absolutely.
not it's conducive to tablets.
Yeah. For Twitch gaming, not so much.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, hopefully, internet will get better at some point, such that it's an ideal that we can host our applications on well-defined server interfaces and then only have to deal with client traffic, because since the beginning of time, also what hardware the end user has always been a concern.
This is another one of those it's 2016 things.
Right, exactly. Why don't I have my awesomeness just beamed into my device for me, right?
Why isn't the internet better?
Why isn't the internet better? It's true. Why don't I have a million things? It is kind of funny. Every now and again, and I'm sure, Jeff, you can relate to this probably, every 5 years or so, I come up against hard drive storage shock. So the last one, actually, when we had this problem, was in 2009, and we were working on static, and we were quite literally running out of hard drive space trying to do static, because the video that we took, which was like, I think it was 720, which was like the highest HD you could do consumer level
That's good stuff.
ish or something like that. So and we had done a lot of video, and we were just processing all these files, and we were just like eating up hard drives. We literally had like 4 computers with just full hard drives, and we're juggling files around them as we process them, deleting behind us just so that we can get the work done. And then I jumped up, and we got a couple of terabyte drives, and I've got a terabyte in my computer. And only recently now, when we started shooting for 96 mil, we were shooting raw files, so 14 bits per channel, 20 megabytes per image file, and quickly I absolutely decimated all of the storage on my drives, and I'm like, wow, this hasn't happened in, I was like, oh, I'm due for it. The last one was 09, right?
I just saw someone released a 10 terabyte drive recently.
Yeah, I saw that. So I don't think I need 10 terabytes now, but I think I might be up to the point where I need a 5 terabyte drive or something, 4 terabyte drive, just to hold on to the information. So
you should get a solid state drive too.
Well, I do have a solid state in my computer, but it doesn't have much on it. But I keep the OS on it because that is a good idea.
Yeah.
Local hard drive space is not a problem for me.
Well, that's good.
It's cheap too, so it's not a big deal.
But I back up everything anyway to the cloud, so it's not.
It's fairly cheap, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah. About time to get another Google account. I need more cloud space.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Or you can just refer your friends and get some extra free space or something.
Friends? Who has friends?
Yeah, what are those?
What the hell is that? So anyway, yeah, so that's my story of woe. Tale of woe.
It was a pretty long one.
So, Raymond, so tell me, you say things are going well with your project, And so I'm curious as to are you still looking at this as being just a couple of months and then you'll be published? Oh, what happened?
Yeah. Oh, he dropped. It looks like he dropped.
No, it's just me and you.
Huh.
All right.
I mean, I guess I'll try to take over a little bit. Oh, he's back. That was quick.
Maybe I'm back.
Ah, he's back.
There we go. Yeah, my call dropped for some reason.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yeah, wife's probably watching videos or something.
All right, well, you can, I guess, ask him the question again.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, Raymond. As far as you're working on your game, are you still looking at this taking just a couple of months?
Absolutely. It is a 3-month project, and that is hard and firm.
Good to know.
And normally I would be kind of like, is that even possible? Except for the fact that we did it.
Yeah.
So.
Tell me though, what happens? Assuming something doesn't go wrong, and something always goes wrong, but let's assume that it doesn't.
Okay.
What does it look? What happens in 3 months?
What happens in 3 months?
Yeah. So
in 3 months,
you hit your goal. Now, what happens? Are we? Do we have a game that's ready to sell?
Yeah, we're selling in 3 months. Given the timeline that we have, it may not exactly be. It might be prudent to sell in 3 months. So in 3 months, we're at October 1, right? And I think it would be a good idea to sell through October for this particular game, for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so that would be the idea, is that we start our really hard pushing for sales marketing campaign in October 1, and it is ready to sell October 1 ideally.
And you putting this on Steam?
Well, I would certainly love to. We are currently investigating publishers for this particular product.
Right.
So that's something that Brian is currently working on. But in lieu of Steam, my guess is certainly eventually it will hit Steam. And ideally it will be on Steam in 3 months. But sometimes the wheels of publishers don't move that fast. And I give them the benefit of the doubt to say sometimes.
Right.
Is that a problem?
Is what a problem?
You now have to depend on a publisher. You can't self-publish.
Oh, I can self-publish. I can definitely self-publish.
But that's not something you're going to do with this.
No, we are. So yeah, I guess let me back up. So with pretty much all of our products, we self-publish, and then the ideal goal is to get on as many third-party platforms as do DRM-free versions, which can be directly purchasable and downloaded for our, our traditional.
I guess he's having connection issues again.
You said DRM. What does that mean? Is that digital rights management?
Yeah, that's what that is.
Okay, is that something that you think of as a is that a friend or a foe?
Are you asking me or him?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Something I think of as a friend or a foe?
In other words, is that something that's you use to your advantage, or is it something you can prepare for and watch out for?
Well, usually when we offer games on our site, they're DRM free. So,
which means,
but of course, that means you buy it, and you just get like the files, and you can install it. There's no like checking if you have an internet connection, or checking this or checking that.
So
of course,
it's friction normally that you want the player would have to deal with. If it wasn't like that, you're just assuring the player they can do whatever they want with it.
Pretty much, yeah. Once they buy it, it's theirs to do whatever they want. So.
Mm-hmm. Do you have what is your because mine is limited. What's your knowledge base when it comes to other DRM issues?
Uh,
Like, for instance, uh, is the content that you put into the game itself, that Raymond puts in the game, would that have any danger of being flagged as interfering with somebody's rights because he grabbed a content from someplace he shouldn't have?
oh no, I don't think it would be like that. But
What's up? I think
hi, he's back again.
wife was watching some video and soaking the net for some reason. So what was the question?
You're probably just being throttled by Comcast. Wait, you have Comcast down there?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, Comcast.
They see in the spike, they go, "Oh, something's wrong there."
Yeah. So what was the question?
It was about DRM. You mentioned DRM,
Correct.
and then you cut out. So I was talking to Brian about DRM.
Right. So DRM basically means that in this case, for our back catalog games, we give you a simple installer, and there are no, authoring controls of where you can install it and who can take it away from you and all sorts of things like that. So, for better or for worse, as well as Steam is a DRM platform. If they decided tomorrow that they didn't want to provide their services anymore, then it is quite possible that the games that you own would cease to function.
Mhm.
They've said that that wouldn't really happen, and I kind of guess that it wouldn't. But still, if you don't own it, you don't own it.
Okay.
Possession being 9/10 of the law and all that.
Well, no, I mean you can get into a lot of trouble if you break the law.
What do you mean?
If you violate the. So when you say DRM, you mean digital rights management?
That's correct. So DRM are basically controls by which publishers and content creators can say when you can, when you can't, where you can, where you can't utilize content.
Mm-hmm.
So an example of this are, unlockable keys. So if I give you a piece of software and it says, all right, here's one key, and then we record on our server that you install it on your machine, and then...
Oh, like Windows.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you familiar with... I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's that, Jeff?
No, you were not done with your thought. You were still talking. I interrupted you. Anyway, are you there?
I'm kind of here at the moment, but I didn't hear that.
Okay. Are you familiar with... So there's a guy that writes science fiction. I think his name is Cory Doctorow. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
So yeah, he's well, he's part of the Freedom, the Frontier Freedom. Why can't I think of it? Anyway, a big advocate for potentially getting rid of all the digital rights stuff. It's pretty interesting, but that's not something you really have to. Is that something you really have to concern yourself with your project?
Well, kind of in a way. There are certain people, many fans of ours actually, that won't play anything on Steam, and will only purchase DRM-free versions because they are concerned about, the fact that it might not be there at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very valid concern, and certainly our new products, there's kind of no way to get around that, or there are very few ways, and we are looking into ways to provide such things. But for our old games, Morning's Wrath, Lost City of Malathader, and Static, they're all binary build Windows products. So we offer those purchasable as just straight installers, no keys, no DRM.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so some people won't buy anything but that. There are people, a small majority, that are adamantly opposed to Steam. And I can understand where they're coming from, but I mean, Steam is obviously a gigantic platform. For all of our new stuff, which is HTML5 based, not to say we won't do something that's not HTML5 at some point, it is kind of DRM'd in and of itself, which is to say if you cannot get to the server and the server does not like you, you can't play it. In theory, there are ways to potentially get the content and run some sort of pirate server, but it's not trivial. It's certainly not like copying a file.
Huh.
So currently we sell, as I say, back catalog stuff, DRM free installers. For new stuff like 96 mil, we will allow purchasing of, like the full version key in this case. So you purchase that on the site, and it gets linked to your account on edigames.com, and then you can utilize the game in full version glory.
I see. All right then.
Yep, and likewise for Steam, given that it is an HTML5 game, we would run it in a web view wrapper. So it would essentially be a binary that runs the web page, but in a very high performant controlled view.
All right.
So yeah, so as you in reference to your original question, the hope is October 1. That is what we are doing. We at least will have the on-site sales working. It would be great if we were able to do simultaneous Steam publication, but that depends on finding a publisher in the meantime and hoping that it all, goes at that speed, because we're currently dealing with a publisher who, for all good faith, we think is lagging a bit on getting one of our back catalog products out, and so that's just an example of how it can take longer than you think.
Right. Well, it must be frustrating.
It is a little frustrating. It's more frustrating for Brian than me. I tend to be a little easygoing about it.
Right.
It is. I mean, it's particularly frustrating in that we did a lot of changes at their behest, and they're all good changes. They are changes that should have been made, and I think it's all better for it. But, we've made all those changes, and now they're kind of lagging on getting the release out. So it's kind of like we spent this time doing this, and we're not seeing the benefit yet.
It's when you're not in control of something, it can get awfully frustrating. That's not something I have to worry about. But I have all those other problems to deal with. But I have nobody to blame but myself if something fucks up. And you know what? I end up blaming myself a lot. That ends up happening a lot. It's just part of the process,
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, I'm thinking Comcast is being dumb tonight for some reason. Stupid Comcast. Hope Comcast hears this.
What do you? So what is your game going to cost? I think I've asked you this before because I'm just trying to.
We haven't actually priced 96 mil yet.
Yeah, we might need to think about that a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Brian's like, don't say anything. Don't say it. So we're holding back on the pricing of 96 mil, but of course we can diplomatically say it will be within reason. For some of the other stuff that we're working on, such as expansions for Rebel Immortal, which as that gets more solid, we will have access to those. We are planning on pricing those, I would say, pretty low, because we would like to create more of them and not be really restricted on, we've got to we're charging X amount of dollars for this, so it's got to be big, and we need to, get a lot into it because we can charge that. So I would rather charge less and allow us to be more creative and more free with the expansions that we create. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
So I will say that it is certainly looking like for the majority of expansions we're definitely under $10.
Yeah.
So.
And how many games do you have that you? that you produced?
We currently have 3
wait,
games.
hold on. This is a perfect time to insert this shameless plug for our website.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, exactly.
I'll post it in the chat. You can check it out. And now you can continue, Raymond.
No, thank you.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with being shameless in your plugging. If you're not going to promote yourself, who will?
That's right.
So yeah, we have 3 games back catalog, and Revel is still in open alpha. We actually just did a recent release, and it's looking halfway decent. Can be looking better, but we decided to switch off for 96 mil for a bit because I think it will be a good departure.
What do you mean, good departure?
Oh, just a break from
Oh,
Revel
break,
for a
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I'm thinking about taking a break too, from everything. So off topic, perhaps.
Sure.
All right. We're doing some. We're going to be doing Airbnb,
Oh,
Oh, nice.
awesome.
our apartment upstairs
Cool.
this fall, and that's so. I'm going to need now. See, Raymond, around your place, I know that you're the guy that does all the heavy lifting
Absolutely.
and the building and shit like that. But that's not the case up here. It's mostly my wife's projects. She's the one that fixes the toilets and does all that stuff. And
Bless
but we need to sort of double team this project to get it ready for September 1st. So yeah, I'll be doing Raymond type stuff for.
Wow.
Oh, wow. You have a reputation. Huh?
Oh, I definitely have a reputation. Not necessarily a good one. But yeah, that's cool doing the little home improvement
Stuff
action.
and yeah, a little home improvement and trying to get the apartment presentable, and we have to furnish it and do. So it's interesting. I think it's just the right time. We've been actually renting it to students for the last 8 years, 1 year students,
Nice.
and that's worked out. But we're ready for a change.
Yeah. I'm guessing if you did shorter term rentals, you could probably maximize your profit, your revenue.
I think there are a lot of factors. So part of it is going to be the monthly, the trade-off. I don't know whether we'll make as much, but there are other trade-offs as well. You don't have to heat the place every day if there's nobody there. A lot of things like that. So,
Yep.
and it just makes it easier to maintain. Strangely enough, if you have to maintain it, clean it, let's say, every time somebody stays there, that's actually easier than cleaning it once a year, because it's a lot of work, and that's what we're
Right,
working
exactly.
on right now. Because they're students, they're pigs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not even a student, and I would fall into that category.
Same.
Well, you're one of the smart ones,
Yep.
Brian, right? You never went.
All right. Well, I think I'm probably set. I don't know if anybody else has any other topics.
I'm good.
Anybody? Bueller?
No.
All right. Shall we call it to a close then?
Sure.
I guess we should. Yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thanks to everybody for coming.
I did try to. I invited Pat King, and he was going to invite somebody else. I don't know, but it was a little short notice on that. So
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
I'm going to be
There's
seeing
always
him
next
anyway in
time.
a couple of weeks. He has that whole other game, Pioneer Valley game developers thing that he's involved with. So maybe.
Yep. Yeah, I see a lot about that. So yeah,
All right.
it would be great to get him here eventually.
All right.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
You guys take care.
Okay. You too.
Yep. Bye.
Have a great
All
night.
right. See
Goodbye.
you later. Bye.
Bye.